Right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 11th in the series of Google Ads webinars from Laura at YBA PPC. So this is the 11th in the series. So far, Laura's been getting some fantastic feedback, so thank you all very much for that. Today, we have both Laura and Jen, a new face, supporting Laura, who will be delivering the session. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Jen and Laura. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Hope you are really, really well. It is a horrendous, well, it has been really horrendously weathered, but it is now blue sky, beautiful weather, and it's very autumnal and gorgeous. Now, do you know that it is National Black Dog Day? Do you have a black dog? Put a yes in the chat if you do. Bit wild and wacky, but there you go. So yeah, so today what we're going to be doing is sharing with you the biggest reasons why Google Ads fails. Now, we've got a fantastic agency that helps a wide range of clients, different self-storage companies, and a Sprocker, well done, nice. So we work with removals and also self-storage too, and they have got great results through from it. So the thing is, it's not that easy. Not everybody can make it work so well. I mean, we work with a number of different removals and storage companies, like I say, and we've developed a really strong strategy on how to get great results. Now, not all things are produced equally. So there are things that happen where it's not working so well, and we are going to share with you a lot of those things that that will help shortcut those and be able to get you great results. So I'm going to hand over to my good friend Jen in a minute. She's our head of business development, and she comes with a wealth of experience. She's been working for other agencies, looking after local accounts, so she can share her golden nuggets with you. What would be really, really helpful, though, is if you'd really kindly just change the name on your profile in Zoom so we can see who you are, because we like to interact with people. We're very friendly and engaging here. So just change your name if you would. You just go to your participants, find your name, click on I think it's the 3 dots, and you can rename. So if you can put your name and the business, that would be really, really helpful. Yeah, and it's great to have feedback from people that have been to these webinars before and find them really helpful. So hopefully you've got your notepad, you've got your pen, let's rock and roll. So I'm going to pass you over to Jen now, and I will see you guys at the end.
Perfect, thanks Laura. So yeah, sadly I don't have a black dog. I do have a tan dog though. So she's not quite made that cut today. But maybe that's another day, National Brown Dog Day.
Yeah.
But cool. So yeah, so today we're going to talk about why Google Ads fails and really how to fix it. So just to give you a bit of context, so far for us. So yeah, so far this year we've audited over 100 Google Ads accounts, and that amounts to about 200k in ad spend. So just to give you context, we are looking at these things day in, day out. I know when you're just sort of looking at your one Google Ads account, it's sometimes really difficult to know, is that good or bad? What should I be looking at? But this is something, you know, we're able to compare across multiple accounts and look at many, many different things. So hopefully we can give you a bit of insight today in what you should be looking for. So we've identified 7 key areas that we think are vital for Google Ads success. So there's a number of reasons why Google Ads accounts fails. It might get a bit complicated, but if you can get all of those things right, then you're really onto a winner. So this might look slightly overwhelming, but I am going to go through each of these in more detail.
Can't quite see it, so
sorry.
That's why Jen's going to just share her screen. She's get all excited about all the information that she's going to share with you, and it will pop up in a second.
Oh, is that working? No,
Give you a hand.
sounds like sharing.
Yeah, it should be there.
Can everyone give me a comment in the chat if you can see my screen?
Perfect.
Okay. All good.
Yep, all good.
Carry on. Okay, so yeah, so there's 7 kind of top things that we've identified, and I will go into more detail into each one of these as we go. But just for a quick overview, so the main things we're going to look at today: having an irresistible offer, making sure you've got conversion tracking in place, making sure you've got clear goals and KPIs, your campaign structure, the targeting of your account, bids and budget, and also the landing page that you're taking people to. And if you kind of miss one of these key things, it's going to cause you issues further down the line with your Google Ads account. So if you don't have an irresistible offer, nobody wants your products, so there's going to be no one to get leads from. If you haven't got clear tracking, the account's going to be blind, so there's no sort of useful data for the machine learning algorithm to use. If you don't know what you're trying to get out of your Google Ads, you know, what's your goal, there's no sort of aim or target to go after. If you're sort of lacking the right campaign structure, that can lead to things being fragmented, and Google Ads doesn't work so well for you. If you don't have the right targeting, you're going to get inaccurate data and you're going to be targeting the wrong people. If you don't have sort of the right bid strategy and the right budgets, you're going to be inefficient. So, you know, not everyone has a lot to spend on Google Ads. It's so important that what you do spend is used effectively. And finally, poor landing pages. So you can spend all the money in the world and you can get people to your website, but if you don't land them on a great page, you're going to lose those leads. So really important, but we'll go through each of those in more detail now. So the first one is around having kind of an irresistible offer. So you need to make sure that what you're kind of offering to people it is what they want and finding that fit together. So what is it that makes you different from other people? Is it kind of a professional moving service? Do you offer domestic moves? Is it international moves? Is it 10% off the next move you do with us? Is it a free bottle of champagne with every move? You know, whatever it is, what makes you unique? What makes you stand out from the crowd? And once you've got that, you want to know, does that fit with what your customers actually want? So you might need to try a different ad copy. It might be that your customers are very price-led. It might be that actually they want a free gift, or they might not care about price at all. It might be about level of service. And if you can kind of find out what they want and get that into your ad copy, shout about it, be loud and proud, and make sure that's on your website, then you're going to make sure that you've got that offer that people really want, and they're going to click on your ads. The next reason why we see Google Ads fail is conversion tracking. So conversion tracking really is kind of the foundation of your Google Ads account. So Google now runs on kind of an algorithm and uses lots of AI, and it needs conversion data to function properly. So if you put bad data in, you're going to get bad data out. So it's so important to make sure as soon as you set up an account, you've got conversion tracking in place. So whether that's, well, it'll probably be a number of things. So it'll be your Google Ads conversion tracking to start with. So making sure whenever someone clicks through onto your website, we're tracking those. Offline conversion tracking as well can be really useful for lead generation. So for removals, you know, someone comes in, they might make a phone call. Are we kind of tracking that phone call? Are we kind of pushing that back out into Google Ads into the system so it can optimize? There's also recently this year been developments on Google Ads around sort of enhanced conversions and consent mode. So they're kind of more technical things, but really important for our kind of tech team to make sure those are in place. Really just so that we can make sure we're seeing which leads are good, which leads are bad, and we're making sure it's all those good leads that are kind of going into the system. Google is using those to optimize, and then what we're pushing out is hopefully more good leads. And if we don't have that conversion tracking in place, Google just has no idea really what it's meant to optimize towards. So you're kind of leaving it blind, and you're not going to see good performance out of your campaigns. So for removals, what do we want to track? So it's really the key things that are important to your business. So it's going to be phone calls, it's going to be quote requests, it might be live chat. It's about capturing those things that are most important to the business. So it's not so important who's actually viewing a page. It's more about what are those high quality, high value leads to your business, and we really want to make sure that those are tracked correctly. And something that we do here at YBA with all our clients is we also use something called call tracking metrics. So not only do you want to track someone who's gone through an ad onto your site, but this piece of software can also track what do they actually do when they speak to someone in your sales team. So we can record each call that happens with a salesperson on your team. You can then listen back to those calls and use that for internal training purposes. So where you have a really strong lead that leads to, lots of revenue for your company, you can listen back to that call and say, okay, what did we do really well here? Or if it's not such a good lead, you can say, what didn't we do well? And you can use that for your internal training to just make that lead follow up better and better and better. And obviously, as you get better at that, the conversion rate is going to go up, and everything is looking good for the business, which is always great. Cool. So the next one is having clear goals and KPIs. So what are those key performance indicators that you care about as a business? So is it that you're trying to drive phone calls? Is it you're trying to get someone to submit a quote? Is it that you actually want them to book online directly? Or do you want them to come and visit you in person? I mean, it's probably the first two for removals companies, but it's really good to know exactly what action it is that you want a customer to take, and what do we really care about achieving from your Google Ads. And if you do have a clear idea of your site conversion rate, or how many people who become a lead go on to become a customer, if whoever is looking after your Google Ads has that information and can sort of feed that back into the system, that's all really, really useful to have like a clear target to aim for. And it also just means that you aren't kind of wasting spend. Like, there's no point spending money on ads if you're spending thousands of pounds a month and actually the leads you're bringing in are hundreds of pounds. You don't want to use Google Ads to make a loss. It's all about kind of getting extra sort of profit and extra leads to your business. So if you don't have a clear goal or KPI, it's going to be really hard to know if what you're doing is working well or not. So very, very important. The next one is around campaign structure. So campaign structure is one of the biggest drivers of performance. And basically it's because it allows you to have control over the keywords that you're targeting. So how your campaigns are structured can influence the Google Ads algorithm. It can influence your bid strategies, your targeting, and your ad spend. And if you read sort of other Google Ads information online, you'll probably be aware that there's loads of different campaign types. Google's always changing them. So there's sort of standard text ads, there's performance max campaigns, video, display, there's all sorts of things you can do. So it's really important to kind of have a good understanding of what you should be doing and why. So for removals, we tend to recommend three main campaign types. So the first one being a local campaign, so targeted to the local area, and that can contain keywords like removals near me, or more general terms that people might look for when they're looking to book removals. The next thing would be a brand campaign. So for example, if the brand is YBA PPC, we're going to bid on that specific keyword that is our own brand term. And then if anyone is looking for us, we make sure we appear at the top of the page and we're not sort of beaten by any other agencies or any other sort of competition. And the final one is a display retargeting campaign. So these are, if you've ever done any shopping online and say you're buying a pair of shoes and you put them in your basket, you forget about them, you might find that you're sort of followed around the internet with these image ads and you're kind of like, oh wow, that's exactly what I was looking at. That's display retargeting. So we can also do those types of things where it's not going to be shoes, but it might be, I don't know, a picture of a van or a picture of your brand logo or something relevant to removals. We can kind of track those people across the web and just remind them that you're there. If they go on and they're on a website that's similar, it might be around, I don't know, getting a new sofa for their new house. We can just remind them that you're there by showing them an image ad. So if you don't kind of get that campaign structure right, it can lead to your account being fragmented. It can lead to budget being spread too thinly across different campaigns. And And if you do run Google Ads and you ever go in there, you might see a campaign status with a little red box, and that's limited by budget. And having the wrong sort of campaign structure, if you've got it wrong, you may see things like that. So it's just something to be really aware of, and know that it's very important. The next one is around targeting. So really for removals, we know we're local businesses. It's really important that your location targeting is nailed down to avoid wasted ad spend. So this is an example. This is a removals company sort of based in Oxford. So we can see in the red probably the area that they would cover, but they were kind of targeting all the way up to Northampton and Birmingham and other cities. And it's just one of those businesses where you're very unlikely to get a lead from a different city to the one you're based in. And also there's a lot of competition in other cities. So it's best to really sort of double down on the area that you're in, on the people in the local area, and just avoid wasting any ad spend. Because if you are showing to people in Northampton and you're in Oxford, you're going to spend money on them. You're probably not going to get them as a lead. So it's just about being clever with who you're targeting and where you're targeting. And the same is true of keywords. So you're probably all aware that in order to run a Google Ads campaign, we select kind of the keywords that we want to bid on. So when someone searches on Google, that keyword that we choose to show for appears, and we sort of show an ad. But what you might not be aware of is Google does have different match types. So there's broad, there's phrase, and there's exact. Google really loves to push broad match. And they will encourage you to select and enable broad match and add that as an auto apply. So if any of you have ever sort of been on a call with a Google Ads rep, you might have had a call where they go into auto applies and tick this box. Lots of people do that. And if you don't know what you're doing, it's very easy to do. It's very easy to trust Google. However, word of warning, Google does want you to kind of spend as much money as possible with them. And broad match, you can imagine it working like a megaphone. So let's say I have a keyword, removals near me, and I put that on broad match. It's like Google is kind of shouting out to everyone in the area I'm targeting with a vague interest in removals. So it could show for something like wart removal, which is actually technically removals, but nothing to do with the business that you're running. So you have to be really, really careful with broad match. And it's a good idea to add a lot of negative keywords if you are running any sort of broad match activity. Otherwise, you're just really going to show to irrelevant traffic. It can be really expensive, and it's going to lead to a very high cost per lead. So the match type we recommend using is exact match. So in contrast to shouting to everyone vaguely related, much more targeted using exact match. And you're basically only going to show for a person who searches that specific keyword that you're bidding on. So if it's removals near me, you should only show up for removals near me, or if it's home moves, it'll be that. So it just allows you to be much more targeted, not to waste as much spend. And that's really what we want. And also to get those higher quality leads, because you know exactly what people are searching for to find your business. So let's start with that first before we start going too broad. Perfect. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is bids and budgets. So Google has in the last few years moved over to what it calls its smart bidding algorithm. So this uses hundreds of different signals in order to determine how much it should bid in every single ad auction. So those are things like the audience, it might be time of day, device, location, how good your ad copy is, your keyword. There's loads and loads of different signals it can use. So the main thing is working out how you can make that Google algorithm work well for you. If you don't understand how the bidding and the auction works, you can easily kind of make costly mistakes. If you don't have the right, say we've got broad match keywords on, we're targeting Northampton instead of Oxford, and we don't have the correct smart bidding in place, it's just so easy to spend loads of your money and not be driving those good quality leads. So it's just so important to really understand how it all works. The other thing you may see with your sort of bids and your budget, again, is Google Ads really pushes using smart bidding. But what I talked about earlier with the conversion tracking, smart bidding only works if you have the right data to push into the algorithm for it to optimize towards. So for example, in order to use maximize conversion bidding with a cost per acquisition target, you really need at least 15 conversions over the last 30 days in order for Google to optimize effectively. If you don't have that data coming through, there's no point using it, because it's not going to know how to push budgets, how to pull bids. It just really isn't going to be the right solution for you. So if you're just starting out and you don't have any data in your account, or if you have a very low spend or very few conversions coming through, it might actually be better to use manual bidding before sort of jumping straight to that smart bidding step. And final one is on landing pages. So this is really one of the most important things within Google Ads, but we don't control it from the Google Ads account. So really, really important to know. Once someone gets to your website, this is really where they go from just being a click to actually being a customer. So really, really important. You can spend as much as you want driving people to your website, but if they get there and you've got a poor landing page, you're really not going to get those leads through. So things to think about when someone lands on your website: are your USPs really clear? So what is it that you offer that someone else doesn't? If it's in your ad copy, it should then be on the page that they're landing on. That all helps to make your ads more relevant, and it helps to lower your cost per clicks. Are all the images on your website relevant to your business? So we audited a website a couple of weeks ago, and it was actually for, I think it was a print business, but they had an image of the skyline of London and it seemed completely random when you landed on it. So it's really important, you know, if you're a removals business, maybe it's a picture of the outside of your business, maybe it's a van with your logo on it or something like that, but it just needs to be really relevant and what a customer is expecting to see when they go to a removals website. Is it easy for your customer to find your phone number or to request a quote form? You'd be amazed how many websites have the phone number at the top and it's in a really small, hard to read font. Just make it bigger, put it on a big red button, make it really, really obvious so it's idiot proof and anyone can find it and they can get in contact with you. And then finally, after someone submitted a lead, what are you actually doing as a business to follow up with them? How does that work for you? Are you getting back to them straight away or in the next sort of 24 hours? It's so important that nurturing of that lead continues to happen even after the Google Ads account stuff is finished. And I think Laura's talked about this probably in every webinar that she's done for the bar. But I think it's around 7 times people need to see your business or have sort of a touch point with you. So you may find actually they come through a Google ad, they become a lead, but it's super important to do that final bit to get those good quality leads in and get them to convert. So that was probably quite a lot of information, but we can send this presentation over to you. But just to recap, so we've kind of identified 7 key areas for Google Ads success. And those are having an irresistible offer. So think about, you know, how can you make your offer irresistible? What is it that your customers want to see? Conversion tracking. Have you got the right conversion tracking in place? That might be quite difficult to know without sort of a tech specialist, but if you don't know, it's worth reaching out to someone and trying to get them to review it and audit it, because that's super important. Goals and KPIs, what are you really trying to achieve from your Google Ads account, and are you doing that now? Campaign structure, what does your ideal campaign structure look like? Do you have anything sort of limited by budget, and how is that looking for you right now? Targeting, so this is all about that location targeting and the keywords. Are you actually showing your ads in the right area, and who is that audience that you're sort of targeting with your ads? Bids and budget, are you using smart bidding? Are you using manual bidding? Is the data going into the bid strategy working well for you? Are you spending too much on your Google Ads? Are you spending not enough? And what should that look like? And finally, that landing page. So even if you're doing all of those first 6 things right, if that landing page isn't great, you're going to lose leads. So it's ideally, you know, you want to be hitting all of those 7, and then you've got an account that's really set up for success. So yeah, so that's it from me on the technicalities of the Google Ads accounts, but I will hand you back over to Laura to explain, you know, some scenarios where we've gone through these client accounts and we've made changes and we've achieved some success with them.
Great, thanks, Jen. Great session. Just do a quick, give us a little bit of feedback. Put a 1 in the chat if you found something out of that useful, something you didn't know, something that will help you understand that Google Ads has lots of different facets to it, and there's various areas of improvement that you can do. Just give a bit of feedback to make sure that you're all there. So yeah, the key thing about this is just to share with you a couple of case studies. So this is a client that was doing Google Ads themselves in their business. This is a storage company. And it's almost like you don't know what you don't know, which is really the essence of today's message. So he was doing this in-house and was not able to see the number of leads that were coming through. So the conversion tracking wasn't quite right. The keywords weren't quite right with the targeting the right kind of people that were looking for storage. There wasn't remarketing set up. So really, this is just to bring to life a lot of the things that Jen just kindly talked you through. But it's night and day. So for this particular client, he was then full, and that was quite a quick turnaround. Now, not everything happens that quickly. Don't get me wrong, but it's about turning the levers and pulling the levers for your Google Ads by making the changes of the things that we've identified that can go wrong, making those levers go in the right direction to then have better outcomes. So that was a little example. I think there's another one that we will look through too. And this is an example about a landing page. So this shows the really, again, the kind of the night and day outcomes of having a landing page that's for performance. So this is to take them to a landing page is basically the page on your website that you point people to when they click on the ad. So we made the layout of this page far clearer by having a clearer headline, 3 key bullet points as to why this company was better than others locally, and a very clear call to action. So the difference you'll see is it was massive. It was more than double on the conversion rate, and the cost per conversion, so the cost per inquiry, naturally came down half too. So by making those changes can significantly change the return on investment for you as a business. So it's like doing the easy stuff to make the sales come through even better, but it's understanding all of these particular elements and improving these. So those are a couple of examples of landing pages I wanted to share with you, but we are here to help. So if there's anything that you would like to know, if you've got any sort of burning questions, pop them into chat. And also we've got a little offer for you. So if you would like us to have some more specific guidance for your business, for BAR members, you can either go to that website there or take a picture of the QR code there, and we will offer to do a strategy session with you for half an hour, where what we'll do is we'll deep dive into the business to understand, well, what are we doing now on digital marketing, and if you're doing Google Ads, where are you now? Where do you want to get to in terms of inquiries? And we can identify exactly where that missing gap is. So by all means, get in contact. But yeah, I think with everything that Jen's gone through, I always refer back to Bananarama, because it's that song that says, it ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it that gets results. So anyone can do Google Ads, but doing it well is the difference to your business, of getting that constant stream of inquiries through. Or, oh my gosh, I've seen that on my my profit and loss list and the advertising. I'm spending lots of money, but I don't know if it's actually bringing me leads. It can, I promise you, it can very much so for removals. So thank you everybody for your time. We have another session next month that will be on the 11th of November. And so we'll be sharing, that's more if you've never done Google Ads, so if you're literally starting from scratch. So this is like a beginner's guide to Google Ads, looking at what you need to think about, how you need to get started. So it's been great being with you here this morning, and thank you, Jen, for sharing all those valuable tips. And I will hand back over to Stephen if he would like to close up and if there's anything else you would like to add.
No, thank you, Laura. Thank you, Jen, and thank you, Megan, for your controlling the session. And of course, thank you for everybody for turning up today. So say Laura and Jen, no doubt, and Megan will be back on the 11th, back on the 7th of November. And we will see you then. So thank you all. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.